What's going on, everybody? Gentleman94 here, back with another episode of Ben Builds. Today we are continuing on the F-105 Thunderchief. As you saw from our unboxing video, we have this aircraft weapon set from Hasegawa. We're going to use that today. The F-105 is pre-shaded and ready to go, so we are getting really close to paint. First off, we're going to go ahead and work on the weapons kit today, get those bombs set up, ready to go. Next time, we'll probably go ahead and paint the F-105, and then we'll go from there. Let's take a quick look here at the Hasegawa U.S. bombs and guided missile tugs. Let's see here. Just going to open up this bag. Now, I didn't show this much in-depth look in my unboxing video. I just kind of showed you what it looked like and what came in the box. Today, we're going to really open this up, and we're going to start getting to work on some of these bombs. So, as I mentioned last time, the F-105 typically carried 6 M117 750-pound bombs slung up underneath the centerline fuselage pylon. Usually on the wings, the inboard wing pylon would have a fuel tank, and the outboard wing pylon could have anything from Sidewinder missiles to bombs to jamming pods. And this kit, of course, does not come with those weapons. This kit comes with a centerline drop tank, bombs on the inner wing pylons, and also the outer pylons being held with bullpups. We don't really see a lot of bullpups in pictures and references and things like that, so we're scratching that. Everything else we're going to change out, and we're going to pull them out of here. And what we're going to be building are these, the M117 750-pound bombs, and they require 6 of them. Now, the Thunderchief could actually carry 6 on the center pylon, and they could also carry more bombs on the inner wing pylons as well. I think another 4 or 6, something like that. So, I mean, it could carry a large chunk of munitions. My first overall impressions of the weapon set here by Hasegawa is, I mean, it's decent. It comes with a lot of munitions, a lot of options, so that's really cool. The problem is, of course, that the plastic is a little thick feeling to me, and also it seems to be very, very glossy. I'm not so sure why it's so glossy. I've seen Hasegawa kits before that are very glossy and kind of hard, kind of thick plastic. This almost appears brittle in certain areas. But they're going to go together fine. I don't see any problem here. Worst case scenario, we just sand them down and prime them before we go ahead and shoot them with the olive drab color. We're going to use our Tamiya extra thin cement on the one locating pin that they have here on these bombs, and then on the center fuse as well. We're most likely going to use a little bit of plastic welder to help kind of solidify this together. Probably is unnecessary with something such as a bomb or something so small as this. But you know what? It better be safe than sorry, and I don't think it's going to do anything adverse to the actual bombs itself. So, here we go with the plastic welder. Plastic welder is a great tool to have. I highly recommend it for anybody out there building models. It does help immensely. So, we have 5 more of these to go, and overall, I mean, the fit isn't too bad. I know there's a little bit of a gap here around the tail surface, but that should be able to be filled with just excess melted sprue once this plastic welder really kicks in. So I think it's going to be okay. There was an option actually to remove these fuses and put an extended fuse on here, but a lot of the 105s that I've seen in reference photos that I have at least usually just carried them with the standard fuses equipped. Usually the extended fuses were the Mark 82s, so not really going to worry about the extended fuses. They don't actually tell you specifically that you can put them on here in the kit, but I'm thinking it's just a matter of drilling out the existing fuse, cutting off the extended fuse, and just swapping them out. So it wouldn't be too hard to go ahead and convert them over. So we're going to do another one here, and we're going to run some plastic welder and Tamiya cement here for this one, and just place them together. I usually start with the tail, work my way to the front, line everything up, put a little pressure on it. Then we're going to check the seams, run a little plastic welder along the top seam, and then along the bottom seam, and then we'll be good to go. So already, you can tell, it's decent. I mean, it looks like a 117, so that's all we really need. So let's take a look at the MER, or the multiple ejector rack. The one in the kit is a little thin in the nose. I don't think is really designed for the center pylons. We're going to ditch that one, and we're going to use the one that came with the Hasegawa weapon set. The problem I see with that, though, is there are a couple of very large sinkholes that have shown up on the very top of the MER. So we're going to have to go ahead and fill those, because that is just not right. I guess you could take a little bit of plastic welder and glue some styrene strips onto it to kind of cover it up, but I don't want to do that. So what we're going to do actually is probably use a little bit of super glue because we really want it to be as smooth as we can. You will notice the front side of the MER, but not necessarily the back side. And we're going to need it to go somewhere right around the centerline fuselage. So we're going to go ahead and take care of that. And let's talk about the centerline pylon too. I found this. This is actually a pylon for an F-7U Cutlass. I had it in my Hobbycraft kit. I'm not going to use it, but it's about the right size for this. I don't have any measurements for these things here, so we're just going to kind of have to wing it. But I think it's going to be okay. It's going to look all right. Now I know they had a slight little bit of forward angle, so we're going to have to take this, use this as a kind of a base guide, and we're going to have to cut out some spares with a strip of styrene and just build them up layer by layer. So this is just your average evergreen strip of styrene. We're just going to mark this out, and we're just going to slice a little chunk off of this, and then we'll doctor it up kind of as we go, and we'll make corrections and all of that. So it should, I think, go together well enough. The nice thing with styrene is it's very easy to work with. You don't have to do a lot of cutting to get it to actually come apart. Just basically score it and then snap it like a sheet of drywall or something like that. There's a little bit of an angle here on the front, so that should go right around there. Yeah, I could see that. Okay, so now we have to do the bottom section of it. And what we're going to do, we're just going to slice that off, and we're just going to pull this. There we go. That is our template right there. It's got a nice little bit of a downward angle to it. If it ends up being too thick, when I go ahead and try to install it, I'll go ahead and just slice off a bit off the very top of it. But it should look something like this, where the pylon will just attach to the MER, and that will then attach to the bottom of the fuselage right there around the center bomb bay. So it looks something like this. Not exactly positioned correctly here, but it looks something along these lines. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so now we have to basically make this thicker, because pylons are going to be a little thick. They're not going to be this tiny little single strand of plastic. So we're going to just stack styrene strips on top of styrene strips, because that's all I have right now. A little bit of plastic welder, or to me a cement, in between the layers will work miracles here. So we're just going to put a little bit of glue on this one, and we're going to glue it down to this strip of styrene that I've got down here. I'm going to try to line up the edges as close as I can, but as long as you have the, I guess, template not covered up, you can actually still see the lines. You can just use the template as kind of a guide and just cut the rest of them about the same as the template. Then we'll put a little bit of plastic welder just around the seams to make sure that this really stays together and doesn't come apart. There we go. Okay, so we're going to be stacking one more strip of styrene on here just to make sure this is thick. We're probably going to use about 4 pieces just for reference here for you guys. Now, I don't do a lot of scratch building, so I'm not sure how this is going to really turn out, but I have a good feeling. Because, I mean, what other options do I have? I guess I could go out and pick up, say, the old Monogram Revell kit and then source a center pylon out of that kit, but why would I want to do that? If I got another 105, I'd want to build that 105 as well and use whatever parts it has in it. So, yeah, I'm not really going to do that. I'm also going to use this piece of cork here, and I'm going to kind of roll it across the plastic styrene here so that it all kind of evens out and it kind of irons out all the air bubbles, if there are any air bubbles in there. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. Now I'm just going to use some scissors, and I'm just going to slice this excess off of the center pylon. There we go. I'm going to use the template as kind of a guide. I'm just going to slice off little sections here. That's the back, and let's do the front. There we go. So, looks pretty good. Looks decent. Alright, so we are more or less done with that. So that's going to go off to the side for right now. We'll come back, we'll do a little more work on it. But let's talk about the outer wing pylons. I want to go ahead and hook on something for the outer wing pylons. And I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and use Mark 82 low drag bombs. Now the reason why I'm not using the kit's low drag bombs versus, you know, the Hasegawa kit here, is the fact that the kit ones are specifically designed to plug into the MER that would be hooked on the wings. So there are large tabs, and I would have to fill all of those tabs, and I don't want to do that. So we're just going to use the Hasegawa ones Now I just need 2 of those. We'll just do 2 off camera real quick. Okay, now we're back here on our centerline pylon. This is dried, and it is pretty secure. It's basically one piece of plastic now. So we're going to use our knife, and we're going to score this, and then we're going to use our scissors, and we're just going to trim any excess pieces off so that it has a nice, relatively flush edge. And there's actually a way that we can achieve this too, because this styrene is not difficult to sand at all. So we can use a hand file, like one of our jeweler files, just kind of go along that. Or what I like to do is we can take an emery board. So we're going to use that, and we're going to use the top of it to just go ahead and sand it flat. And that should be pretty decent. So a little bit of work on there just to kind of get all the edges flush and flat, compressed, ready to go. And that's actually looking really good. I like it. A little bit more ought to do. I want to have it as square as possible too. There we go. So that looks about right. Let's get the back and the front a little bit if need be. All right. Now, one of the things you're going to have to remember too is that the pylons are slightly angled at the nose and they slightly taper at the rear. So we're going to go ahead and use our jeweler files to somewhat shape the front of this pylon just by sanding it down and rounding it out to kind of remove any of those harsh squared off edges. And I think that is going to look pretty good. Alright, so we've got the rounded off edges, we've got most of the top all squared off, ready to go. There we go, it looks pretty good. We're going to put that aside for right now. We're not going to do anything more with that today. We'll come back and we'll install it on the aircraft later on once we start painting. Now let's change our focus over to the munitions on the wings. We've already built the 2 Mark 82 bombs that are going to be fitted at the end, the wing pylons. And let's take a look at the drop tank pylons, which would be the inboard wing pylon. There's a few little bits and pieces here we need to remove to make it sit flush against the wing. But overall, they're going to fit together very well. And when lining these up, you want to make sure that they are going to be nice and square to the tank. You don't want them leaning left or leaning right. You want them pretty much right in the middle, perpendicular. And there is a rear tail fin on this drop tank as well, so that could help when lining them all up. Let's take a look at the outboard pylon as well. And the outboard pylon is specifically designed for the bullpup missile here in the kit, so we're going to have to do a little bit of work, but it shouldn't be that bad. It comes with these little square plugs, actually, for the bomb clasps. So we're going to actually have to doctor those up a little bit, sand them off so that they fit inside the areas, inside the slots here on the wing pylons. So I'm going to use my hobby knife and we're just going to slice off just a little bit of the actual bomb clasp itself. And then we're going to put a little bit of glue on here and just press them in. That's really all it takes. It doesn't take very much, but there are 2 of these. I want to make sure that these are all ready to go. What I'll do is I'll have to actually remove the locating pin probably off of this, or at least shorten it down so I could glue that bomb approximately where it's supposed to be. Shouldn't be too bad though. Should be pretty simple to do. So everybody, we're going to go ahead and call it quits for today. We've worked here. We've got all of our 6 M117 bombs ready to go. We need to paint them, prime them, and all that good stuff. We also have our MER that we're awaiting, and these are going to attach onto this here. So that's going to be really cool once I get that all finished up. And we have 2 of our wing tip pylon bombs, which we have ready to go with the wing pylons set up. Just got to shave that down. We'll be good to go. Glue those on. And we've got our drop tanks more or less attached, ready to go, pre-shaded, ready for paint. And also we have the centerline pylon. As you can see, we're going to mark it actually top so that I know which way is up. If I get confused and mount it the other way, it'd be somewhat bad. So there's our wing pylon, scratch built, which is strips of styrene. It's going to plug in somewhere right around there. We'll have to get some detailed drawings and make sure we place it exactly where it should go. And that's going to do it for us. There is nothing else we can do right now. It's been a fun time so far, so tune in next time. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you back here soon.